The markets are heating up for a very big year, at least if we are expecting the same as in 2017, 2021 and in 2025. So in this video we're going to discuss how high altcoins could go and my Bitcoin and altcoin predictions. So let's get started. Hey, as you know, I'm a huge football fan and our sponsor OKX is currently running a promotion with Manchester City. If you create a new account and you deposit €1,000 and you keep it on there for 7 days, you get one of those shirts for free at your home. And on top of that, you might be able to win a 2-person VIP all-paid experience to go to Manchester City, Chelsea. Go to okx.com/cryptomitchnl. Make sure to get that account and maybe we'll see each other at the Manchester City game. Before we're starting with 2025, we need to finish 2024 as it has been a tremendous year. And we have had the Bitcoin prediction video already, but I wanted to highlight some things regarding Bitcoin in this video anyways, as Bitcoin has seen a tremendous run. As we have approached the new all-time high prior to the halving, we have actually been breaking that all-time high at the later stage in the year. But the first initial all-time high was made at the beginning of 2024 with $73,000 after the ETF went live. And the ETF was causing a spark for the markets as we've seen an inflow of more than 30 billion taking place, in which the price of Bitcoin has been breaking through 100K. Now, later that year, we also had the Ethereum ETF taking place. It went live. Slightly different than the Bitcoin ETF approach in the sense that many people were super high enthusiastic about the Ethereum ETF, but it didn't really create the same hype after the ETF went live. So the first months were relatively slow, but after a certain period in time, especially since Trump got elected, we've seen that the inflow in the Ethereum ETF has exceeded 2 billion. 2024 was also the year of the meme coin rallies, as we have seen that the Solana ecosystem has been doing great and multiple meme coins have been doing 100x's in which the communities have been started to grow. So we have seen a year where Poppe, Peanut the Squirrel, Dog with Hat, Hippo, Mudeng have been doing great, creating a spark of Solana in terms of the utility that those meme coins can have. And thousands of new meme coins, actually millions of new meme coins have been created through the year. The flip side is that this year has also created an extended bear market for altcoins. Actually, it has been the longest bear market since existence for altcoins, as Ethereum has bottomed out in October/November of 2024, which is a bear market for more than 3 years. And it's also very likely that the previous bear market is going to be shorter than the upcoming bull market. And if that is the case, then we are going to have a massive bull cycle for crypto. But Ethereum has dropped by 47% in this year against Bitcoin, causing a continuation of the downwards momentum of the market. But we had Donald Trump, and then Donald Trump actually triggered to be the low on most of the altcoins. He caused a lot of activity in the markets, make America great again, make crypto great again, make crypto big or great in the US, as it has activated the markets in a positive way. I've seen it in the venture capital, a lot of new deal flow taking place, a lot of more momentum with the marketing side, a lot of new deal flow or clients in the consultancy have been coming in, and Bitcoin has been breaking through 100K. And that also caused a spark in a narrative that was the USA SAC coins, which were having a very hard time for more than 2 years. And now we've seen XRP skyrocketing to creating an all-time high almost, in which Hedera, Cardano, and all those older coins have been doing great, in which XRP did an almost 500% in a month. So 2024 has been an incredible year for the markets, depending on which ones you had in your portfolio. Now, let's look at what 2025 is going to bring. What is next? That's the question here. That's usually the question, by the way. But what is next for 2025. And that's why I categorized everything with the important parts that I expect to see happening in 2025. I've made my altcoin portfolio video, my strategy, but I wanted to highlight some predictions for the upcoming year. And yes, next year we're going to be looking back to my predictions of this year to see whether I've been completely wrong, which does happen, or whether I've been right on some of the aspects. And the first thing that I wanted to discuss is the upcoming bull year for Bitcoin. I've been discussing the rainbow chart in the Bitcoin prediction video. I think that based on the rainbow chart, we saw that 2021, we didn't peak as high as we wanted it to be. I think that due to that fact, we are going to have a significantly higher ROI during this cycle. We also have a climate, a macro climate where the yields continue to show strength, which is not really benefiting for risk on assets as much as they want it to be. And then we can see that the global money supply starts to increase, while the US money supply is just lagging behind. There's still a lot to come from the US. And I think that in 2025, the labor markets are going to be weaker. The chances of having a recession have increased. And through that, the US money supply will quickly expand, through which Bitcoin starts to continue to have its momentum. But I do not expect Bitcoin to peak in 2025 because I expect that there's way more money needed to actually move Bitcoin upwards or to move it into the markets. That's why I think that the cycles are going to extend and they are more based on macro perspectives rather than the 4-year cycle with halvings. So I think that within this year, we're going to see Bitcoin breaking through 150K and stay there for a little while until we can start expanding into 2026. That said, I also expect to see significant corrections in between. I do assume that at the end of Q1 of 2025, we're going to have a correction of 30%, very much comparable to what we've seen in 2024, in which we're going to stay sideways for a little while, where we're going to be seeing the first signs of the lengthening cycle. And we can also see that with this chart from Raul, we are having a case of a sideways action or a correction due to the liquidity going down again. But I also expect that Trump being in the White House is extensively priced in. And the previous time in 2017, we have seen a substantial correction taking place after which he came into the White House. By the way, during that period, altcoins were actually outperforming Bitcoin. So I think that if Trump gets into the White House and the correction happens, altcoins do better. But I do not believe that he's going to deliver as soon as he can. And you get some sort of buy the rumor, sell the news type of thing, where we are having that correction, consolidation, creating a lot of hype surrounding the altcoins. And that's why the third thing is that I expect Ethereum to significantly outperform Bitcoin as the trend has finally reversed. As you can see, Ethereum against Bitcoin has been in the longest bear market since history, and it has barely started moving upwards. And the reason for that bear market is the macroeconomic climate, the incredible high yields that we have compared to the previous years that is not really benefiting the Ethereum ecosystem. And as that slowly starts to rotate, I expect Ethereum to outperform Bitcoin for the entire year. And that's being fueled by the chart that I've got here, which is orders divided by Bitcoin or orders valued against Bitcoin, which is the altcoin market capitalization, which is showing the strongest bullish divergence since the existence of the chart. And the previous time that we marked this bullish divergence was the low in September 2019, which resulted into a bull market for 2 years for altcoins. And now we have experienced a bear market for 3 years. It might mean that we're going to have a bull market for 3 years as well. The question then is, what do I expect in terms of verticals or narratives to do well? And in that sense, I think that because of the changing macroeconomic climate, and also based on the fact that fundamental growth has been taking place within the verticals, through the fact that Some have been continuing to build from the previous cycle, have closed down potential errors and have been improving a lot so they can onboard more TVL. Well, that's why I say that DeFi is going to be the significant carry or the big one for 2025, in which we can see that the TVL is already getting towards all-time highs, where some of the protocols have been breaking their highs, but most of the protocols are still lagging behind and are eagerly going to catch up on that aspect. Usually when something starts to run, it's a sign of what the next narrative is going to be. And in that light, I expect DeFi to do well. And we saw that Aave has been moving upwards against the US dollar. It has been breaking highs. Against Bitcoin, it has barely moved anything. And there's still a lot more upside to be gained, especially if more TVL is going to be locked in. Now, the other thing is that I think that RWA with the DeFi integration and Deepin are going to be the biggest gainers for the upcoming cycle. Especially Deepin is a completely new vertical. It's likely going to get the hype that we've seen with NFTs and Metaverse. I don't believe it's having a complete solution for everything already, because it's technically creating a new ecosystem, but the valuations are still super low with IOTax, Peak, and Grass. But all those listings, especially Peak and the ecosystem that Peak has shown that there's a lot of upside to be gained there. Grass is the biggest airdrop, or one of the biggest airdrops that did do well, and also the chart starts to do well. And then when we talk about RWA, we've seen that things like Ondo, Mantra, and Clearpool have been starting to take its momentum, and I think that that momentum is going to continue in the upcoming year. And then finally, yes, I do expect that meme coins are going to have 1 or 2 cycles more, as the Solana versus E chart is the most important chart to see whether utility coins or meme coins are going to do well, as the rotation plays are going to be super important for the upcoming year. Dogecoin is likely going to do well, Poppe is likely going to do well, and I think that the Solana meme coins, after ETH has been doing well, are going to have 2 more new cycles taking place. So taking that into account, let's discuss what my strategy is going to be. Now the question is, if we know this, or well, we don't know this, but if we analyze these things, what is my strategy going to be for 2025? As I've been going all in into altcoins in 2024, well, my plan is to trade actively. And depending on where we are, the more active or less active I will be. At this point, I'm fully risk on, which means that I'm fully allocated into altcoins. I'm looking to take profits at the March highs, and I'm going to use the rotation game, and I'm going to do the rebalancing game. So I'm going to rotate towards other markets, which means newer coins, meme coins, or the Solana ecosystem if Ethereum is getting overvalued at some point, which will likely happen during the cycle. I'm also going to continue trading altcoins on the side with volatility. So I'm looking to improve myself with day trading altcoins again. And also, the higher the portfolio goes, the less my risk will be. So if my portfolio starts to expand, or whether the altcoins are getting into that March highs area, we discussed it in the altcoin portfolio update, I'm going to start taking off and swap towards ETH. But also, the further we get into the cycle, the more likely I'm going to be swapping ETH towards Bitcoin, or perhaps ETH towards Solana to have another run. But I'll be starting to move my portfolio depending on the structure of the markets. And of course, if there is a thesis where the 4-year cycle is actually taking place, my strategy is not really depending on that. It's more depending on how high Bitcoin goes and how big my portfolio is going to be, through which there is a must for me internally to rebalance my portfolio. Yes, that means that I'm going to sell my Bitcoin or my ETH towards USDT to buy back in lower to make more Bitcoin, or to allocate towards other assets like gold or emerging markets or gold miners or any asset that I find interesting, which of course we will be discussing on this YouTube channel. Thank you very much for watching to my updates in 2024. I wish you a happy new year. I'll see you again in 2025 on this channel and on the podcast channel. Make sure to subscribe and let me know what we need to make in 2025 in the comments beneath. I'll see you again. Ciao.